Hi friends! Welcome to Beauty by Tree. I'm Tree and I am so excited you decided to spend some time with me. Today's video is going to be my second Storytime video that I'm uploading, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of video before. If you haven't already watched my near-death experience video, then definitely pause this. Okay, well, don't pause it right now. After I'm done talking, pause this video and go watch the one that's linked in my description, because it's kind of like a two-part series and you need to watch that one to understand this one, and I don't want you to be left in the dark. We don't do that around here. And speaking of not being left in the dark, I hope everyone who follows me that is in the US has done their civic duty and voted over the past couple of weeks or today, election day. I have to admit I might be filming some videos tonight just to kind of distract myself because it is nerve-wracking to see what's about to happen. But here we are, and I am going to share with you my experience with the first invasive surgery I've ever had in my life. I also thought it would be kind of fun to look into this wonderful, mysterious letter that I have here. One of my friends sent this to me as a get well gift, thinking of you gift, and I haven't opened it until now. I wanted you guys to see my reaction. I also thought I would show you what I ended up doing with this gift that was in the last video. So it had flowers in it, but I was like, surely I can keep it and do something cool with it. Anyway, if you would like to hear me talk endlessly about myself and look at these two gifts, then keep on watching. As you should already know, I was planning to have a myomectomy surgery for uterine fibroids that needed to be removed, and also a migrated IUD. And I tried to do that in July, but it didn't work out as planned. And when I was put under anesthesia, I went into anaphylaxis and very nearly lost my life. So it didn't really work out in July. They did a lesser procedure to remove my IUD, and they scheduled me again for surgery on September 24th. So I kind of went through that same process of the first time again. And basically I was just like having to be very careful, quarantining, and doing the few things that I had to do to prepare for surgery, doing the things I needed to do to prepare to leave my job for a couple weeks. And a lot of my routine, a lot of what happened is very similar, but obviously the results were much better this time around. So I remember that I think like a couple days before, again, I had to go and pick up my prescriptions, and I also was just trying to make time to connect with all of my friends and family and talk to people before I faced surgery and was kind of off the grid for a while, because I wanted them to know like that I cared about them, and I wanted to check in on their lives and tell them how I was feeling. I definitely think because I knew what was going to happen, and maybe because the worst had already happened, or what I think is the worst, I was a little less nervous this time around, but still like a healthy amount of nervous. So I spent the night before doing the same kinds of things, packing my bag to stay at my mom's house, making sure that I ate dinner before 12 p.m. midnight. That was when I had to stop eating and drinking. And then, or I'm sorry, I had to stop eating then, but I could drink in the morning up until 7:30 a.m. And I kind of cleaned up my apartment and got everything ready for me to be gone. And then I went and ate my dinner and just kind of hung out and played video games and tried not to think about what was about to happen, because I had noticed that not thinking about it, I was able to kind of like function better in my life and get things done and not be so like overcome with worry. So I did that, and then I went to bed a little late, like probably like 2 a.m., which is better than last time because I tried to go to bed last time and then I could not fall asleep for the life of me. this time around, I think I slept a good amount. Another thing that was kind of funny is I have always been a bit of a superstitious person, so when approaching this second time around, I was like, okay, I lived last time. I had good luck last time, so I have to do everything exactly the same this time around. So I made sure to make the same kind of food the night before. I went over in the morning to drop off my stuff at my mom's house, and I had my grandma bless me again with her holy water. And all the same people that I asked before to pray for me, I asked them to pray for me again, and I let them know when I'd be in surgery. And this whole experience with, my medical stuff, and then also just being in a, global pandemic, it's really made me a lot more of a spiritual person, and I'm so thankful for all of the prayer warriors that have been on my side throughout this. What else did I do the same? I took the same exact things to the hospital. I put my hair up the same. I made sure to wear my glasses instead of my contacts because I didn't want to be touching my face as much, and I'd be spending a lot of time sleeping. I really tried to keep everything almost exactly the same. So on Thursday, I showed up at the hospital. Luckily, this time I got to get there a little bit later because I was able to complete my blood work at the same time as my COVID test. I did not have the same horrible experience with my COVID test, so that was taken care of, and I could get there a little bit later. I also was prepared this time, so all of my piercings were taken out, and actually, as you can see, I'm not wearing any nose piercings because they ended up closing, I think, after the first time around. I'm like really bad with nose jewelry. I don't know why, but I could not get them back in. So I'm just gonna rock the natural look for a while, and then maybe when I decide what I'm gonna do with this hair, if it's like a vivid color, I'll find a way to pierce my nose again because it's kind of like an aesthetic. So yeah, all around I felt more prepared, more confident. The funny thing is, even though I thought I was not that nervous, when they took my blood pressure before, they were like, oh yeah, it's a little high, but I'm assuming you're just not too fond of what's about to happen, so that's okay. And that's like the first time anyone's ever told me I had high blood pressure. So I was sitting there after being checked in, waiting, and just kind of like doing the same thing as last time, resting, praying, and just trying to stay positive and keep myself calm. And then all of my doctors came in to introduce themselves. It was really nice to see a few of the same people. And my anesthesiologist, I was so impressed with her because she was just so, I don't even know how to describe it. She was just so smart and so cool and confident. And she came in talking about one thing, and then she decided to change her plan. And basically, because I hadn't had any allergy testing on the rocuronium, which is a paralytic, she decided to give me, I think, a spinal, which is not quite the same as an epidural. It's like a lesser epidural. But basically, I was paralyzed from the waist down, so that actually made recovery that first night like a lot better than it would have been. So I was really impressed that she kind of took on all the information and then was like, okay, no, I have this other plan that's going to work better. Let's do that. Anyway, so I met her, I met all my doctors, and I was, I forgot to tell you about check-in. Okay, check-in was crazy because last time around, they had restrictions in place that you couldn't have any visitors. There was much less capacity. It was like kind of a ghost town when I walked in. And this time when I walked in, it was so busy. There were so many people sitting in chairs. Like they had the chairs spaced out, but it still made me nervous being there around. That was the most people I'd been around in like this whole pandemic. But anyway, so the second time around, I luckily was able to have a visitor. So my mom was planning to be there after I got out of surgery. And I did call my mom right before surgery too because who could not call their mom right before surgery? I was scared and I just needed to hear her voice and know that she was going to be there. And that was such a big help for how I felt going into this, knowing that I would get to see her. That really helped me a lot. And yeah, so the next thing that happened was first they told me they were giving me something to not care about anything. That's how they described it. We're going to give you the drug that makes you not care. So they were wheeling me back to the operating room, and I was just talking away. I was just like telling my whole life story. They were like politely laughing, but I don't even think they cared really. But I remember I was sitting on the operating table, and they had to have me like scoot over to the edge of the table and like sit a certain way so that they could give me the spinal. And first there was like a little pinch or like a pushing, and that was the numbing, I guess, agent. And then they gave me the spinal, and like I just remember even with all of that going on, I was like talking away, didn't care, like didn't really hurt. It felt weird, and I did kind of try to jump off the table, which is why there was someone standing in front of me to like push me back on. But yeah, this time around everything went exactly as it should. I didn't react to anything, and they were able to successfully complete my surgery. I remember waking up in the recovery room, and it was just a much, much, much better experience waking up. Like, it was, a little strange, but the pain, obviously, I could feel a little bit, but not actually, no, I couldn't feel the pain right away because of the spinal. So I actually didn't feel anything for like almost an hour, or maybe 2 or 3 hours. So I went up to my room. They took me to my permanent room, and I was basically sleeping most of that first night. I did pretty well with meeting all of my goals almost like ahead of time, I think. So the main things that they were looking for before they released me was that I could walk, they could manage my pain, I could spontaneously urinate, and I could tolerate food. Did I already say that? Anyway, yeah, that first night, so there's a part of this story I really don't want to tell. I really don't want to tell it. So maybe I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if you can get this video up to like maybe 500 views, because I'm just starting out and I do not get that many views. But if you can get this video to 500 views, I will do a story time about the most embarrassing, horrible, awkward moment of my entire life, but only if I get 500 views. So do what you will with that. Leave a thumbs up if you have time. They were managing my pain with oxycodone and ibuprofen and acetaminophen, and everyone was always like, why both of those? But I think one was for swelling and one was for more pain management. And I think also there was gabapentin. But basically, I slept through most of the night. Of course, in the hospital, they keep waking you up and taking your vitals and everything, so it wasn't the best sleep. And my mom, she was there after surgery, and then she came back the next morning. And I was there even through lunch. They knew I was going to be ready to go, but I had to wait a while to talk to my doctor. And so I ate lunch in the hospital. I'll try to include all the pictures I have in this video. And I talked to my doctor. She said everything went incredibly well. I had minimal bleeding, and I still had a uterus, which that was what I was most scared of, was that if they couldn't control the bleeding or if they couldn't get them out safely, that they would just do a hysterectomy, which I am not ready for at this point in my life. And yeah, so that didn't happen. And she was like, do you want to see your tumors? And I was like, yes, I do, because I'm weird. So she showed me a picture on her phone. It was crazy. The biggest one was, she said 7 by 9 centimeters. So I would guess that it was like this big. Like, that's pretty big. There was one tiny one, two medium-sized ones, and then one smaller than that, I think. So I think there were 5 total of these fibroids that they removed, and it was crazy. Like, I am in awe of modern medicine at this point. Anyway, so after I talked to my doctor, they eventually released me. They explained all of my medications and what I needed to do. I couldn't shower for the first day, I think. Um, I had like skin glue instead of stitches. There were like internal stitches and then skin glue on the top. And I couldn't submerge myself in water, and I had to take it really easy. So the first 2 days, I would say, that I was at my mom's, I only slept. I slept and I ate and I drank water and I took medicine, and that was it. That was just 2 solid days of sleeping and healing. And I wasn't exactly in a lot of pain per se because I was on painkillers, but I was just incredibly, incredibly exhausted and did not feel great. And then I would say the third and the fourth and the fifth day, I was kind of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm doing better. I'm like not hurting quite as much, or, like it's just progressing. It's great. And then when I stopped taking the Oxycontin, I think the, I think it was Wednesday night was the worst night because I finally didn't have the painkillers in my system, and it was just the ibuprofen and acetaminophen, and I think we had like extended those out an hour longer apart than they should have been. So I was in a lot of pain that night, and I was crying and bratty and unhappy. And so I just want to say a very, very big thank you to my mom, who was my nurse and also my only friend because I was isolating in this room. She was the only person that I would see pretty much for a week and a half straight. And let's see, so then by like Thursday, Friday, I had my post-op, my 2 week, well, actually, it was the following week that I had my post-op appointment at 2 weeks, and everything looked great, everything was going great. I was gaining more and more mobility, and I was getting stronger, and it was just amazing how much I could heal in 2 weeks. But I was definitely still taking it easy week 3 and week 4 for sure when I went home to my apartment, and it definitely was a lot harder to keep resting and healing when you have a lot more responsibilities. There were no responsibilities for me at my mom's, so I really enjoyed watching TV and reading. I watched like a couple Netflix shows, and I also started reading this book called Recursion. Last but not least, I want to look at these 2 wonderful things that I have to show you. So if you don't remember this cute little guy, last but not least, I want to show you the 2 gifts that I have here. This had flowers in it before, right? But it was so cute, and I wanted to keep it and do something with it, and also do something that made sense. So now I have it in my bathroom, and it holds Q-tips and cotton balls and bobby pins. And then we also have this here from my friend. She's a wonderful, amazing, beautiful person that I've known since high school. Oh, oh wow, this is so cute. Oh my god, this is so me. I love this so much. Oh man, I don't even know if I can get the camera to see that. Okay. That is so great. I feel like she did the lips because I mean, they're not lips, but to me they look like lips because I'm into makeup. Oh my god. What? What? Oh, what? Oh my god. This is like the coolest. Okay, this is what the front looks like. And then inside are these pressed leaves. Wait, is that upside? No. These pressed leaves. I love this like very French looking woman over here. Wow. I love you dearly. I'm so glad you are all right. My sweetest friend. Miss you. Oh. This is so cute. I'm in love with this. Yay! Okay. Well, the only other thing I wanted to tell you was that I don't know if you remember. If not, go watch the video again. I received 2 flower bouquets that had succulents on them, and I was able to pull apart the little petals and stick them in some dirt, and they have sprouted now, and hopefully I'll get a bunch of little succulent babies out of that. Also, I want to apologize for the lighting changing in this video and for being entirely incompetent at filming and uploading before Halloween for spooky season. So I'm really sorry, but you're going to get some bonus Halloween videos at the beginning of November. I don't know what to tell you other than I was busy healing my body. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up because that's how I know to make more of things like this. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please, please. Like, I really want to do this YouTube thing, so that would be really cool. And you could even go one step further and click the bell for notifications. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Well, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.